Good morning, everybody. My name is John Suscovich, and here on my 52-acre farm in Western Connecticut, we're on the edge of a bunch of change. Our animals shift around pasture. They're always moving. We get their poop spread out across the fields. And in the brooder, I have a batch of birds eating their breakfast, and they are about to go out and live in some Suscovich multi-purpose chicken tractors. And so we're going to do a Linger grazing video now, the last stage of the brooder. These birds are ready to go. And then I'll do a follow-up series in the next week or so where they're out in a chicken tractor moving through the field over here. So let's jump into the brooder. I'll get on the other side of the camera and check out what's going on. So starting from the outside, I noticed that I should do some power washing and clean up the shed if it's going to be camera ready in the future. But I have the warm brooder space. I got a fan for some air exchange. I got one window here. I got a couple different vents on the other sides. And then I have a chicken tractor parked on the outside that we call the annex. Now this space totally, I've fit 240 birds here in the past. That's my normal batch size when I'm in full tilt for my production. But because of all the other things that I've mentioned in all the other videos this year, this is a batch of 30 birds. And we're doing some grazing experiments, and it's a very manageable number if you think about this space being ready for 240. So going into the brooder itself, the first thing we notice, I have this netting hanging down, which keeps birds from flying in there. Otherwise, you get those little like barn swallows and other small birds. I'm not a bird guy, so I don't know all the names of the birds. But they fly in and they eat all your chicken food. We'll put it that way. And then they're pooping in your brooder, which is not the best for biosecurity. So what we do is hang these 3 little pieces of plastic netting. I'm sure you could use a variety of different things, but this lets all the light and air come and go. It's still open on the bottom, but I've never had a creature get in that way. And it's easy enough just to push it aside and walk in. Because it's only 30 birds, really only needed 1 feeder and 1 little waterer. I check on them throughout the day. They never run out. I refill it in the morning. When I come out in the morning, there's like a quarter of this left. You know, maybe I'll refill it at the end of the day. And they have a nice small area with room to go outside. You guys want to say hello? They're like, no, we don't. I'm not getting royalties for this. The hemp bedding has worked out really well. Doesn't smell in here, stayed very dry. It's a small amount of birds and a decent amount of space for this many birds, so their manure is very spread out. I've been using this scale, just a kitchen scale with a bowl on it, to weigh my birds on a day-to-day basis to track my growth rates with my tracking sheet here. This is batch number 2 for the year. I have some extra hemp. If I notice wet spots around the water, or the water started to leak and I needed to replace some, or just to top dress it and freshen it up a little bit, especially if they have one corner that they like to sleep in, I keep some extra bedding material right on hand. My lights, I have hung up in the ceiling so that I can go in and work with the birds, especially if I'm weighing them now that they run away from me a lot faster. I'm not clocking my head or walking around the lights. One of the things that we did with the lights, which I thought was awesome, I have to thank David for this. We have a Wemo, and this I can control from my phone. So the one light that was hard plugged in was a ceramic bulb. They look like this, that just produces heat, and we can have that going at night without the light for the birds messing up their photo period. But then if I wanted the extra heat lamp, because I got these Premier One heat lamps, this is the ceramic bulb, this is the light bulb. The light bulb was in the Wemo, which I can control over an app on my phone, and either set an automatic rule where at the coldest part of night it turns on, or just a little early in the morning, or I can turn it on and off from my house without having to walk out to the brooder, which is kind of nice. The last thing I'll point out, we keep a digital thermometer in here that does the inside, outside, and relative humidity. That's that bottom number, 99% humidity right now. Inside and outside just means it's at this box and it's at that temp probe. So I got a temperature down at the birds and up in the ceiling. This is not connected to Wi-Fi to give me a temperature reading, but this one is connected to Wi-Fi. This one sends to the app on my phone, which gives me a high and low temperature. And the reason why I have two is that this sends it to my phone and is Wi-Fi enabled, but has a very small battery in it and no screen. And I don't want to have to pull out my phone if I'm checking the brooder. I want to be able to walk by and just see what the temperature is. So this is my on-site get the information thermometer. All right, that's enough brooder talk. We're gonna flip the camera around and close it up. So that's like one of the best times on the farm is when you have these cute little babies and they were all tender and fragile and soft, and you're like, you just get them in, you're like, oh my goodness, please survive. And you're worried about the temperature. They harden off. They get stronger. They get more durable. And raising them outside and getting them down to this colder temperature makes them live a little bit longer than they would if they were in a barn and you can keep them warm all the time. But that's okay. From a production standpoint, that is more added labor, but from a customer standpoint, that's added value. You're adding value to the birds by giving them a longer life, allowing them to grow a little bit slower. They're like, we're not gonna be on camera, John. When they can grow a little slower, they develop more flavor, becomes a better product. You put them out on grass and they have a diverse diet. They're getting bugs and all different kinds of forage. That flavor imparts in the meat, and then you get it. You can look, one of the things I say at my farmer's market stand or if I'm selling a chicken is that you look like a pro chef messing this up. You look like a professional chef without having to be a professional chef. We make you look good in the kitchen because we spend all the time in the field. If you start with a better product raised in a healthier way, then you're gonna have a better time at the dinner table. You're gonna impress your friends, feed your family, and do your part to save the world. We've got a lot to do this week. We're gonna go see the turkeys. We're gonna see my egg layers, which include some pullets, which I'm combining coops. We're gonna talk about that. I'm looking at it right over there. We're gonna go check out the pigs and how they're doing. I moved the goats yesterday, so we've got a lot to see this week. I should stop talking. We should get started. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. Take care of yourselves, and if you can, someone else too. And until next time, I will see you out in the field.